My interest was always in people, how people felt, why they did the things they did, and why they were not feeling better. Often when I found myself in conversations where people were talking about climate change, the economy, or the political system, I probably seemed disinterested, unengaged, maybe even stupid from the outside. But it wasn't really that. I just felt like we had bigger issues to be resolved, because people weren't feeling good. But in the corporate political culture I grew up in, how people felt wasn't really something to be dealt with. It was the major structural things that mattered. So that left me believing that how people feel doesn't really matter to most. Which again made me believe that I had to keep my interest to myself, to read the newspaper and pretend to be engaged in everything else people were talking about, like bank interests or high electrical power bills or how computers are replacing humans, or what to do when the oil runs out. Today, I know that I wasn't stupid or uninterested or unengaged. Quite the opposite. Today I realize that how we feel is actually the umbrella that covers every other situation or challenge in our entire world. Today I know that almost everything comes from human decision, and humans are, after all, only human. Today I know that it's nearly impossible not to let any emotion affect the decisions we make. And even when the decisions can't be undone, how we feel, of course, also affects the way we respond to the decisions and how we handle them. So today, I am proud to say that what matters to me the most is the way we feel. Yes, you and I. And I know that it's easy to find numerous reasons to why we can't feel happy. Because of what is going on in the world. Because we don't have this or that. Or the people we know and love don't have this or that. There's always a reason to choose not to be happy if we look for it. But that is really also the key to the way we feel, be it happy or unhappy. What we look for is what we get. But that also means that there's always a reason to choose to be happy as well. We just need to turn that flashlight to something else. If we don't like the things we see, we can go look for beauty. Beauty is really everywhere, if we decide to go look for it. And of course, I know that today it's easier to look for ugliness. The papers, the news, the neighbors, they all tell us that this is what to look for. And we might feel guilty if not doing as they say, because what about the war, conflict, criminality, abuse, and poverty? But looking at things that make us feel good is not the same as disregarding all of that. I just ask myself, will looking merely for ugly take away the war, the criminality, the abuse, and the poverty? Then I remember that feeling bad is what made a lot of that happen in the first place. Some of us have got to start looking for the beauty, the things that feel good if something is going to change, if better decisions are to be made. Imagine the rates on war and conflict and criminality and domestic situations and the outcome of relationships, if the majority of the people in this world were making decisions and taking action from a happier place. So yes, I do know that ugly is everywhere we turn to these days. But I also know that the only way to do something about it is to look at something else. Nothing ever changes if nothing ever changes. Fighting against something will always be a fight. A war against something will always be a war. Instead of just fighting what we don't like, we need to start looking at the things we do like. That is the only way that they can grow bigger too. Albus Dumbledore put it so nicely. Happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one just remembers to turn on the light. The thing is, you don't need a reason to be happy. Happiness in itself is the reason. It is the reason why we do what we do and why we want the things we want. And the lack of happiness is the cause of most things that are ugly. So today, I choose to look for beauty. I choose to look for a smile from a complete stranger, for the first flower that blooms in spring, for the success of someone unknown, for small acts of kindness and to pass it forward, to tell someone they are beautiful, to let someone know if they brighten my day, to share my happiness whenever I feel it. So wherever you are, yes, you that are hearing my thoughts, make a vow to search for beauty, to turn on the light. And once you do, you will lead by example, because your vibe can be felt. Because what I truly now know is that when you look for the things you do like, more of that will appear in your life. Your own happiness and looking at what makes you feel good is truly the only gift you can give to the world. Not your hate from looking at what you don't like, because hate only leads to more hate, and there will always be both. So let's choose wisely. Don't be like the rest of them, darling. A happier world starts with a happier you.